If you've ever found yourself lost in the whirlwind of daily life, caught between the pressures of work, personal struggles, and the never-ending stream of thoughts that clutter your mind, know that you are not alone. Many seek peace, yet few truly understand where to find it. But there are ancient teachings, profound yet simple, that can guide you toward a state of calm, clarity, and inner tranquility. This journey is not about escaping reality, but about mastering it, seeing life through a lens of wisdom and mindfulness. So, find a quiet space, settle in, and allow these timeless principles to reshape the way you experience the world. The first step to true peace begins with a shift in awareness, a practice known as mindfulness. In a world consumed by distractions, where our minds drift endlessly between past regrets and future anxieties, we often forget to live in the present. But the present moment is all we truly have. Mindfulness is the art of being fully engaged in what is happening now, without judgment or resistance. Imagine sipping a warm cup of tea, truly savoring its taste, feeling its warmth spread through your body, noticing the subtle aromas, rather than absent-mindedly drinking while scrolling through a screen. When you are mindful, every moment, no matter how small, becomes meaningful. Mindfulness is not just about sitting in meditation. It is about presence in everyday life. Whether you are walking, eating, or speaking with someone, being fully present transforms ordinary experiences into profound ones. The secret lies in awareness, paying attention to your thoughts and emotions without being controlled by them. By practicing this, you free yourself from the mental chatter that fuels stress and anxiety. The more you cultivate mindfulness, the more you gain control over how you respond to life's challenges. Another key to peace lies in the power of intention. Everything begins with intention. The thoughts we cultivate shape our emotions, our actions, and ultimately our destiny. A mind driven by fear, resentment, or greed creates suffering. But a mind grounded in kindness and compassion brings harmony. This is a principle deeply embedded in ancient teachings. The idea that our internal state influences the world around us. If you set the intention to approach life with love, patience, and understanding, you begin to see a shift, not only in yourself, but in how others respond to you. It is easy to react impulsively when faced with frustration, but when you pause and ask yourself, "What is my intention in this moment?" you create space for wisdom. Instead of responding with anger, you can choose patience. Instead of judgment, you can choose empathy. This small but powerful shift rewires the way you experience conflict and stress. Over time, living with mindful intention turns into a habit, leading to a calmer and more purposeful life. But beyond mindfulness and intention, there is a deeper lesson, one that challenges our instinctive need for control. It is the lesson of letting go. Attachment is one of the greatest sources of suffering. We hold on tightly to people, possessions, ideas, and expectations, fearing that without them, we will be incomplete. But the truth is, everything in life is temporary. Change is the only constant, and resisting it only leads to pain. Letting go does not mean becoming indifferent or detached from life. It means freeing yourself from the illusion of control. It means appreciating what you have without the constant fear of losing it. Imagine holding on to a handful of sand. Clench it too tightly, and it slips through your fingers. But if you hold it gently, with open hands, it remains with you. This is the nature of life. When you accept impermanence, You free yourself from unnecessary suffering. You learn to embrace the present fully without clinging to a future you cannot predict or a past you cannot change. There is a certain beauty in impermanence, an understanding that every moment is unique and fleeting, making it all the more precious. Relationships, experiences, and even challenges are constantly evolving. When you release the need to control outcomes, you open yourself to a deeper sense of peace. You begin to trust the flow of life rather than resist it. This lesson of impermanence goes hand in hand with another essential practice: compassion. True peace is not just about personal tranquility. It is also about how we interact with the world. Compassion is the ability to see beyond ourselves, to understand that every person we encounter carries their own struggles, fears, and pain. When we choose to respond with kindness rather than anger, we break the cycle of negativity that so often dominates human interactions. Practicing compassion does not mean allowing others to mistreat you, but it does mean approaching life with an open heart. It means choosing understanding over resentment. Instead of reacting to someone's rudeness with equal hostility, ask yourself, what pain might they be carrying? This perspective shift is not just for their benefit, it is for yours. Holding on to anger is like carrying a burning coal, hoping it will hurt someone else. In the end, it only burns you. One way to cultivate compassion is through a simple practice known as loving kindness meditation. Take a moment to sit quietly and bring to mind someone you care about. Silently wish them happiness, health, and peace. Then, extend that same wish to a stranger, and finally, even to those who have hurt you. This practice softens the heart, dissolving barriers of resentment and replacing them with understanding. As you walk through life, remember that the energy you put into the world echoes back to you. When you act with compassion, you not only bring peace to others, but also to yourself. You begin to see the world with different eyes, not as a place of division, but of shared humanity. Another key to inner peace is gratitude. It is easy to focus on what is missing in life, the things we lack, the goals we have not yet reached. But true contentment comes from recognizing what is already present. Gratitude shifts your mindset from one of scarcity to one of abundance. The simple act of appreciating a sunrise, a kind word, or a moment of laughter can transform the way you experience life. A practice as simple as keeping a gratitude journal, writing down 3 things you are thankful for each day, can rewire your brain to focus on the positive. The more you cultivate gratitude, the more you realize how much you already have. This does not mean ignoring challenges or difficulties, but rather choosing to see the beauty that exists alongside them. Finally, there is one last essential principle: the power of right action. Living with integrity, honesty, and kindness creates a ripple effect. Every action, no matter how small, has consequences. The choices you make shape not only your own life, but also the world around you. Choosing to speak with kindness, to act with integrity, and to approach life with a sense of purpose ensures that you leave a positive impact. When faced with difficult decisions, ask yourself, does this align with my values? Does this contribute to peace or create more suffering? These simple questions serve as a guide, leading you toward a life of wisdom and fulfillment. Each of these principles, mindfulness, intention, letting go, compassion, gratitude, and right action, work together to create a foundation for a peaceful and fulfilling life. They are not mere concepts to be understood, but practices to be lived. The more you integrate them into your daily life, the more you will see their transformative power. Peace is not something to chase. It is something to cultivate within. It is in the way you breathe, the way you listen, the way you choose to respond rather than react. It is in your ability to be present, to love without attachment, to give without expectation, and to appreciate without fear of loss. As you move forward, remember that this journey is not about perfection. It is about progress, about showing up each day with the intention to live with greater awareness and compassion. The smallest steps lead to the greatest transformations. And with time, you will find that peace is not something distant or unattainable. It is something you carry within you, always. There is a quiet power in simplicity. In a world that constantly demands more success, more possessions, more recognition, it is easy to believe that fulfillment comes from accumulating. But true peace often lies in the opposite direction, in letting go, in decluttering not only our spaces, but our minds, in stripping away the excess and focusing on what truly matters. Simplicity is not about deprivation. It is about clarity. It is about removing distractions so that you can see life as it is, rather than through the lens of unnecessary complications. Imagine walking through a dense forest, burdened by a heavy backpack, filled with things you do not need. The journey becomes exhausting. But if you begin to remove the weight, shedding the non-essential, suddenly, the path feels lighter. This is what simplicity does for the mind. It clears space, allowing you to breathe more deeply, to move more freely, and to focus on what brings true fulfillment. Simplicity does not just apply to physical possessions. It applies to thoughts, emotions, and even relationships. How often do we carry grudges, old wounds, or unnecessary fears, letting them take up space in our minds? Simplicity is the practice of letting go, not just of material things, but of the burdens we place on ourselves. When you simplify your life, you create room for peace. One of the most effective ways to embrace simplicity is through mindful living. Mindfulness is not just about meditation. It is about being intentional with how you spend your time, energy, and attention. Instead of filling every moment with distractions, try experiencing each moment fully. Eat your meals slowly, savoring each bite. When you are with someone, listen with your full attention instead of thinking about what to say next. Even mundane tasks, like washing dishes or walking, can become peaceful when done with awareness. Another key to living a peaceful life is understanding the nature of suffering. In ancient wisdom, suffering is seen as an inevitable part of life, but not all suffering is necessary. Much of our pain comes not from events themselves, but from our resistance to them. We suffer when we wish things were different, when we hold on to expectations that reality does not meet. But what if, instead of resisting, we accepted? What if we embraced life as it is, rather than how we think it should be? There is immense freedom in acceptance. It does not mean giving up or becoming passive. It means seeing clearly and responding with wisdom rather than frustration. When we stop fighting reality, we can begin to work with it, to find peace even in the midst of challenges. This brings us to the practice of equanimity, the ability to remain balanced and steady no matter what life throws at you. Imagine the surface of a lake. When the winds blow, the water ripples and becomes disturbed. But deep below the surface, the water remains still. Equanimity is like that depth. It is the ability to remain calm even when the surface of life is turbulent. Practicing equanimity does not mean suppressing emotions. It means learning to observe them without being consumed by them. When anger arises, instead of immediately reacting, pause. Notice the sensation of anger without judgment. When stress appears, rather than spiraling into panic, take a breath and recognize it for what it is, just another passing experience. Over time, this practice strengthens the mind, allowing you to navigate difficulties with grace. One of the most powerful ways to develop equanimity is by detaching from outcomes. We often tie our happiness to results. If things go well, we feel good. If they do not, we suffer. But true peace comes from doing your best and letting go of what is beyond your control. When you focus on the process rather than the outcome, you free yourself from the roller coaster of external circumstances. This wisdom extends into how we approach relationships. Many struggles in human connections come from attachment, the expectation that others should behave a certain way or fulfill our desires. But relationships flourish when approached with openness rather than clinging. Loving someone does not mean possessing them. It means appreciating them as they are, without trying to control them. Think of holding a butterfly in your hand. If you grasp it too tightly, you harm it. But if you hold it gently, allowing it to rest freely, it may stay with you longer. This is the essence of love without attachment. When you release the need to control others, you find a deeper connection built on mutual respect and understanding. Another key practice for inner peace is forgiveness. Many people carry the weight of resentment for years, allowing past wounds to define their present. But holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to suffer. Forgiveness is not about excusing harm or forgetting. It is about freeing yourself from the burden of bitterness. Forgiveness does not happen instantly, and it does not mean forcing yourself to let go before you are ready. It is a process, a conscious decision to release the grip that resentment has on your heart. Start by acknowledging the pain, understanding it, and then choosing to move forward. The moment you forgive, you liberate yourself from the chains of the past, creating space for peace. Gratitude is another key ingredient in the recipe for a calm and content life. It shifts your focus from what is lacking to what is already present. So often, we are caught in the pursuit of more success, more possessions, more achievements, that we forget to appreciate what we already have. But gratitude is not about ignoring challenges. It is about recognizing the good that exists alongside them. A simple yet powerful practice is keeping a gratitude journal. Each day, write down 3 things you are grateful for. They do not have to be grand or extraordinary. Sometimes, the simplest things hold the most beauty. The warmth of the sun on your face, the sound of laughter, a kind word from a stranger. Over time, this practice rewires your mind to focus on abundance rather than lack. As you cultivate gratitude, you begin to see life differently. You realize that peace is not found in chasing something external. It is found in appreciating what is already here. The more you focus on what is good, the more joy you invite into your life. Another powerful lesson on the path to peace is the importance of self-compassion. Many people extend kindness to others, yet struggle to offer the same gentleness to themselves. We are often our own harshest critics, holding ourselves to impossible standards and punishing ourselves for every mistake. But self-compassion is not about indulgence. It is about recognizing that you, like everyone else, are human. When you make a mistake, Instead of berating yourself, ask, "What would I say to a friend in this situation?" You would likely offer them understanding and encouragement. So why not offer the same to yourself? The way you speak to yourself matters. A mind filled with self-criticism breeds stress, while a mind that practices kindness fosters peace. Inner peace is not about avoiding challenges or escaping reality. It is about learning to navigate life with wisdom, presence, and an open heart. It is about accepting what is, letting go of what no longer serves you, and embracing the journey as it unfolds. The path is not always easy, but with practice, each step brings you closer to a state of balance and fulfillment. These teachings are not meant to be distant philosophies. They are meant to be lived. They are woven into the moments of your everyday life, in how you greet the morning, in how you respond to setbacks, in how you treat others, and most importantly, in how you treat yourself. The journey toward inner peace is not about perfection. It is about progress. Even the smallest steps matter. Even a single breath taken in mindfulness, a single act of kindness, or a single moment of gratitude can ripple outward, shaping a life of deeper joy and clarity. There is a deep wisdom in slowing down. In a world that constantly urges us to move faster, achieve more, and never stop, we rarely pause to question whether this endless pursuit is truly leading to fulfillment. We rush from one goal to another, always looking ahead, always preparing for what's next. Yet somehow, peace remains elusive. But what if the key to a meaningful life is not in the chase, but in the ability to be fully present? Slowing down does not mean doing less. It means doing things with awareness. It means being intentional with your time, fully immersing yourself in the moment, rather than letting life pass you by unnoticed. Imagine the difference between rushing through a meal without tasting it versus savoring each bite, feeling its texture, appreciating its flavors. The experience shifts entirely. This same principle applies to everything, from the way you drink your morning tea to the way you speak with a loved one. When you slow down, life becomes richer, deeper, and more fulfilling. One of the greatest challenges people face is the constant battle with their own thoughts. The mind is always running, replaying past mistakes, worrying about the future, dwelling on things outside our control. But the truth is, most of our suffering does not come from external events. It comes from our own minds. We create pain by resisting what is, by holding on to what should have been, or fearing what might be. But what if, instead of fighting against life, we learn to flow with it? This is the essence of surrender, not in the sense of giving up, but in the sense of trusting life as it unfolds. There are things within our control, our thoughts, our actions, our reactions, and then there are things beyond our control. Understanding the difference is the key to inner peace. Consider water. When faced with an obstacle, it does not resist. It flows around it. Water does not cling to the past nor worry about the future. It simply moves forward, adapting to whatever comes its way. This is how we should approach life. When difficulties arise, instead of tightening our grip and resisting change, we can choose to remain open and fluid, trusting that life will carry us where we need to go. A powerful way to develop this mindset is through breath awareness. The breath is always in the present moment. It does not exist in the past or future. It happens now. When the mind becomes overwhelmed, return to the breath. Close your eyes, inhale deeply, exhale slowly, and feel the present moment anchoring you. This simple practice can instantly bring clarity and calm, reminding you that no matter what is happening externally, peace is always available within. But inner peace is not just about finding calm within yourself. It is also about how you interact with the world, the way you speak, the way you listen, the way you treat others. All of these contribute to the energy you bring into your surroundings. If you wish to live in a more peaceful world, the first step is to embody that peace within yourself. One of the most powerful ways to create peace in your interactions is through mindful speech. Words hold immense power. They can heal or harm, uplift or wound. Often, we speak without thinking, reacting impulsively rather than responding with intention. But when we practice mindful speech, we pause before we speak. We ask ourselves, is what I am about to say true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Imagine how different conversations would be if everyone followed this principle. Misunderstandings would dissolve, conflicts would be handled with grace, and relationships would deepen in trust and understanding. Mindful speech is not about suppressing emotions, but about expressing them with wisdom. It is about choosing words that bring harmony rather than division. Another essential principle for a peaceful life is detachment, not detachment from people or experiences, but from the need to control everything. Many people live in a constant state of stress because they believe everything must go according to their expectations. But life is unpredictable. It moves in ways we cannot always anticipate. The more we cling to a rigid idea of how things should be, the more we suffer when reality does not align with that vision. Detachment does not mean indifference. It means freedom. It means allowing life to unfold naturally, doing your best while accepting that some things are beyond your control. When you detach from outcomes, you stop being driven by fear or disappointment. You begin to trust that even when things do not go as planned, they are still unfolding as they should. Consider a river. It does not resist the rocks in its path. It flows around them. It does not stop when it meets an obstacle. It finds a new way forward. When you embrace this mindset, you free yourself from unnecessary suffering. You become adaptable, resilient, and at peace with life's ever-changing nature. Another way to cultivate peace is by simplifying your life. We live in a world that glorifies busyness, where productivity is often mistaken for success. But being constantly busy does not mean you are truly living. Sometimes, the greatest wisdom lies in doing less, not in a way that is lazy or unmotivated, but in a way that prioritizes what truly matters. Look at your life and ask, what is essential? What brings you joy? What is draining your energy unnecessarily? By letting go of what no longer serves you, you create space for what does. This applies not just to material possessions, but also to commitments, relationships, and even thoughts. When you simplify, you make room for clarity, for presence, for deeper connection. At the core of all these teachings is a simple truth. Peace is not something you find outside yourself. It is something you cultivate within. It is in the way you breathe, the way you move through the world, the way you choose to respond rather than react. It is in your ability to embrace the present, to let go of the unnecessary, to trust the unfolding of life. This journey is not about reaching a destination. It is about how you walk the path. There will be moments of struggle, moments of doubt, moments when old patterns try to pull you back. But every time you choose awareness over distraction, acceptance over resistance, kindness over judgment, you are strengthening the foundation of peace within you. And when you cultivate peace within yourself, it radiates outward. You become a source of calm in a chaotic world, a light for others to follow. The greatest impact you can make is not in changing others, but in changing yourself. And as you transform, the world around you transforms as well. Peace is always here. It is not something distant or unattainable. It is available in this very moment, waiting to be embraced. All you have to do is choose it. The pursuit of peace is not about avoiding life's storms, but about learning to navigate them with a steady heart. Many believe that inner tranquility comes when everything falls perfectly into place, when problems disappear, when stress vanishes, when the world aligns with our desires. But the truth is, peace is not the absence of challenges. It is the presence of calm despite them. Imagine standing in the eye of a storm. The winds may rage around you. The chaos may swirl, but within, there is stillness. This is the power of inner peace. It allows you to move through life without being shaken by every disturbance, without being swept away by every emotion. But how do you cultivate such a state of mind? One of the most powerful tools for maintaining peace is the practice of awareness. The mind, left unchecked, is like an untamed river, rushing wildly from one thought to another, carrying you into anxieties about the future or regrets about the past. But when you develop awareness, you become the observer of your thoughts rather than their captive. You see them arise, you watch them pass, and in doing so, you realize that you are not your thoughts. You are the one who watches them. This realization creates distance between you and the constant chatter of the mind. It allows you to step back, to detach from unnecessary worries, and to move through life with clarity. The next time you feel overwhelmed, take a moment to pause. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and simply observe what is happening within. Notice your thoughts, but do not engage with them. Let them pass like clouds drifting across the sky. The more you practice this, the more you strengthen your ability to remain centered no matter what arises. But awareness alone is not enough. One must also cultivate acceptance. Much of our suffering comes from resistance. We fight against reality, refusing to accept what is. We wish things were different. We cling to what is already gone. We struggle against the natural flow of life. But what if, instead of resisting, we embraced? Acceptance does not mean passivity. It does not mean you give up or stop striving for growth. It simply means acknowledging the present moment as it is, without fighting against it. It means understanding that some things are beyond your control and choosing to respond with wisdom rather than frustration. Think of a river. When an obstacle appears in its path, it does not resist. It flows around it. It adapts. It moves forward, always finding a way. This is how we must approach life. When challenges arise, rather than asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this? How can I grow?" This shift in perspective transforms difficulties into opportunities for wisdom and strength. Another essential key to peace is practicing kindness, not just towards others, but towards yourself. Many people extend compassion outward, but are harsh with themselves. They replay their mistakes, criticize their shortcomings, and hold themselves to impossible standards. But true peace comes when you learn to treat yourself with the same gentleness you offer to a friend. Self-compassion does not mean ignoring your flaws. It means recognizing that you are human. It means understanding that growth is a journey, that mistakes are lessons, and that perfection is not the goal. Progress is. The next time you catch yourself in self-criticism, pause. Ask yourself, would I speak this way to someone I care about? If the answer is no, then offer yourself the same kindness you would give to another. Compassion also extends into our relationships. The way we interact with others has a direct impact on our own peace. When we carry resentment, when we hold grudges, when we allow anger to take root, we suffer. Forgiveness is not about excusing wrongs. It is about freeing yourself from the weight of negativity. Holding on to anger is like carrying a heavy stone. It drains your energy. It burdens your heart. But when you release it, you become lighter. Forgiveness is not a gift you give to another. It is a gift you give to yourself. It allows you to move forward, unburdened, open to peace. One of the simplest yet most profound ways to cultivate peace is through gratitude. The mind naturally gravitates toward what is missing, what is lacking, what is wrong. But gratitude shifts this focus. It trains your mind to see what is already present, to recognize the abundance that exists even in the smallest moments. A powerful practice is to begin each day with gratitude. Before you even step out of bed, think of 3 things you are grateful for. They do not have to be grand or extraordinary. They can be as simple as the warmth of the sun, the sound of laughter, the breath in your lungs. The more you train your mind to recognize the good, the more joy you invite into your life. But gratitude is not just about acknowledging what you have. It is about how you experience life. It is about finding beauty in the ordinary, seeing the sacred in the simple. When you approach each day with gratitude, even the most mundane tasks become meaningful. Washing dishes becomes an act of mindfulness. Walking becomes a meditation. Every moment, no matter how small, becomes an opportunity for appreciation. Another essential practice on the path to peace is detachment. Not detachment in the sense of disconnection, but in the sense of freedom. Many people suffer because they are attached to outcomes, to people, to identities. They believe that happiness depends on things going a certain way, on receiving a certain approval, on achieving a certain goal. But when you tie your peace to external factors, you give away your power. True detachment is understanding that joy does not come from outside you. It comes from within. It means doing your best without clinging to the result. It means loving without possessing, giving without expecting, moving through life with an open heart, but without the chains of attachment. Imagine holding a butterfly in your hand. If you grasp it too tightly, you harm it. But if you hold it gently, allowing it to rest freely, it may stay with you longer. This is how life works. When you release the need to control, you experience true freedom. At the heart of all these teachings is a simple truth. Peace is not something to be found. It is something to be cultivated. It is not waiting for you in the future. It is here, now, in this very moment. It is in the way you breathe, the way you observe, the way you choose to respond. It is in your ability to let go, to embrace what is, to move through life with grace and wisdom. The journey to inner peace is not about perfection. It is not about eliminating difficulties or never feeling negative emotions. It is about developing the tools to navigate life with clarity and balance. It is about choosing, moment by moment, to walk the path of awareness, acceptance, and kindness. And the most beautiful thing about this journey is that it is always available. No matter where you are, no matter what you are facing, the path to peace is open to you. All you have to do is take the first step. The greatest secret of inner peace is understanding that it has always been within you. Many people spend their lives searching, seeking happiness in achievements, relationships, or external comforts, believing that once they attain the right conditions, they will finally feel at peace. But true peace is not something that comes from outside. It is not found in a perfect job, a flawless relationship, or even in a quiet retreat away from the world. It is something you create within yourself, no matter where you are or what is happening around you. This realization is liberating because it means that peace is always available to you. It is not waiting in the future. It is here, in this very moment. The only question is whether you choose to embrace it. One of the most powerful ways to cultivate lasting peace is through stillness. In the modern world, silence is rare. We fill our days with noise, constant distractions, endless scrolling, background music, notifications. But in doing so, we lose the ability to simply be. The mind, always engaged, never rests. Yet in stillness, we rediscover clarity. Take a moment now. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Listen, not to the external world, but to the space within. What do you notice? Perhaps there is restlessness, perhaps discomfort. But if you sit with it, if you breathe through it, something remarkable happens. The noise begins to fade. A deep, quiet awareness emerges. This is the essence of true presence. Stillness is not about doing nothing. It is about reconnecting with yourself. It is in these quiet moments that wisdom arises, that clarity returns, that peace takes root. Just as a lake becomes clear when the ripples settle, the mind becomes clear when we allow it to be still. But peace is not just about stillness. It is also about how we move through the world. Every action, every choice, every interaction contributes to the energy we bring into our lives. If you want to live in a world that feels peaceful, you must first become a source of that peace. This begins with how you treat others. Every word you speak, every action you take has an impact. You never know what battles someone else is fighting, what unseen burdens they carry. A simple act of kindness, a moment of patience, a word of encouragement. These may seem small, but they create ripples far greater than you realize. Practicing kindness does not mean ignoring your own needs or allowing yourself to be taken advantage of. It means choosing to approach life with an open heart, seeing others with understanding rather than judgment. It means remembering that behind every angry face is a wounded soul. That behind every rude remark is someone struggling with their own suffering. When you approach life with this awareness, you no longer take things personally. Instead of reacting with frustration, you respond with compassion. But perhaps the most overlooked form of kindness is the kindness we give ourselves. Many people extend patience to others, yet are ruthless with themselves. They hold on to past mistakes, criticize their shortcomings, and carry guilt for things beyond their control. But true peace comes when you learn to forgive yourself. You are human. You will make mistakes. You will have days where you struggle, where you fall short of your own expectations. But these moments do not define you. What defines you is how you choose to move forward. If you can offer compassion to a friend, why not offer it to yourself? If you can forgive someone else, why not forgive yourself? Self-compassion is not indulgence. It is self-respect. It is understanding that growth is a journey, that learning takes time, that healing is not a straight path, but a winding road. The more you practice treating yourself with gentleness, the more peace you will find within. Another essential practice on the path to peace is non-attachment. Many people misunderstand this concept, believing it means detachment from life, from love, from experiences. But true non-attachment does not mean disconnection. It means freedom. We suffer when we cling, when we hold on to expectations, when we try to control things beyond our power, when we resist the natural flow of life. But when we release this need for control, we find something far greater: acceptance. Imagine holding onto a rope tightly, your grip so firm that it burns your hands. The more you pull, the more pain you create. But the moment you release the rope, the pain disappears. This is what happens when we let go of attachment. It is not about giving up, but about understanding that peace comes when we stop resisting reality. You can love fully without clinging. You can work toward goals without tying your happiness to their achievement. You can embrace life without fearing change. When you practice non-attachment, you do not lose anything. You gain freedom. Another way to cultivate deep peace is by simplifying your life. In a world that glorifies busyness, people often mistake being occupied for being fulfilled. But running faster does not mean you are moving in the right direction. The more you chase, the more you accumulate, the more you fill your life with distractions, the further you move from true contentment. Simplicity is not about having less. It is about making space for what truly matters. It is about recognizing that joy is found not in excess, but in presence. Take a moment to reflect. What in your life is adding value, and what is merely noise? What brings you peace, and what drains your energy? When you begin to let go of the unnecessary, you create space for clarity, for presence, for the things that truly nourish your soul. At the core of all these teachings is a simple truth. Peace is not a distant destination. It is not something to be found in another place, another time, another person. It is here, now, within you. The only question is whether you choose to embrace it. The journey to inner peace is not about perfection. It is about practice. It is about choosing awareness in a world of distraction, choosing kindness in moments of frustration, choosing gratitude even when life feels difficult. It is about remembering, again and again, that peace is not something you wait for. It is something you create. And the most beautiful thing? Every moment is a new opportunity to begin. No matter where you have been, no matter what has happened before, you can choose peace now. You can breathe deeply. You can let go. You can embrace life as it is. Because in the end, peace is not something you find. It is something you are.